Hey guys, so it's me again. So as you can see from the title, I'm a second year at UC Irvine, and although from my first video you can probably assume I'm a cool, funny, good-looking, interactive, outgoing, handsome guy, but just 2 years ago I was a high school senior looking at tons of videos just like this: college reaction, what college I'm going to, how I got into this school, my stats for this school, because of my low grades. So I hope this can help some of you guys in your journey. So basically in high school, my life was surrounded by basketball. I would wake up early before school to get shots up. And after school, I would have a team lift and team practice. Later that day, I'd eat dinner and I'd go back to the gym and get more shots up. So honestly, during high school, it was my dream to play Division I basketball. And as a 5'8" Asian guy, I know that's kind of delusional. But during the weekends, I would spend most of my time at basketball tournaments and basketball camps trying to get recruited. This would conflict with a lot of basketball and school relationships because I would not have time to do group projects or study for tests like other kids would. Anyways, that's besides the point. I just wanted to say that my grades weren't super good, so those of you guys who are worried about what college you're going to, at least you have a chance to come in at UC Irvine. So I know this intro took forever, but here are my stats. So to start, I got a 1400 SAT and I got an 800 on the math section and 600 on the reading section. I also got an 800 on the SAT math subject test. And some of you guys may be thinking like, oh, Carter, 1400 isn't even that bad. You got an 800 on the subject test. What are you saying that like you weren't a great student? I took it 5 or 6 times and everyone was telling me, Carter, you can only take it 3 times or else colleges are gonna scout your life and demand that you send every single SAT score. And those of you guys who are going through that right now, I would like to say they did not do that. No college cared enough to email me personally saying that they wanted to see every single SAT. I only turned my one score that was the very best. And thank God, because there was one time where I legit got 3 figures one time. And none of my friends actually know this because it was too embarrassing, but yeah, that's how it went. So now my GPA. I got a 3.56 unweighted and the 4.1 GPA weighted. So some of you guys are probably also thinking that this is not that bad, but I went to an academic rigorous high school. So Troy High School was a top 3 academic high school in the Southern California area, or at least Orange County. And basically some of my friends, such as Simon Park, would get 4.8 GPA every year, 1568 SAT, and this was basically the whole demographic of Troy. And I would feel very discouraged saying this because I could never keep up. And a lot of times I would just not study because I would think if I'm gonna study hard, I'm still gonna lose to them. So what's the point? Finally, as far as my senior GPA, I don't really remember, but as far as you seniors out there, the only advice I'd give you is just don't fail a class. Because I know that could cause a lot of problems. But if you get a B-, who's counting, you know? Next, as far as my AP scores, going back to my story of how my entire high school was full of geniuses, I actually only took 2 AP tests. One of them was AP Calculus AB, which I got a 5 on. And my junior year, I got a 4 on the AP Psychology test. More on my psychology story, I actually didn't pay attention to my AP Psychology class one time. Miss Wilson, you're probably not watching this, but if you are, I apologize. But I didn't pay attention one time, didn't take any notes. Shout out my guy Ethan Troy for coming through most of the time. But for the AP test, I was really nervous because I didn't know what I'd do. But those of you guys who know what like the crash course book is, just buy yourself one of those and just go through the whole thing. I finished it in like 4 days and I got a 4. After on the practice test, I only got 2. So my score went from a 2 to a 4, and I was actually expecting a 5. So those of you guys who are behind, you can catch up. Now we got my extracurricular activities. This was probably my strongest suit in high school. So I was a 3-year basketball captain. In my application, I wrote 3 years, but one of them was actually a JV captain. I don't know if that counts, but I wrote it. And also, I was named a captain after my junior season. And I was a senior captain, but since I was named my junior year, I actually said I was a 2-year varsity captain. So 3-year varsity captain, it's kind of negotiable, but then again, who's checking? Next, I was an all-league basketball player and I was team MVP. If you ask some of my teammates, they might remember the story a little bit differently, but From my memory, I might have been league MVP. Next, as far as clubs, I was the co-founder of Hobie Club and a board member of Link, which is Liberty in North Korea. In Liberty of North Korea, our goal was basically to raise money and send money to North Korea so that they could have food and just buy stuff like choco pies so they can enjoy their life a little better. Hobie was a leadership club, and basically my friend William and I would put on weekly clubs and teach them how to be a good leader, and we'd have different events that would give community service hours to different students. My last club, which I was super passionate about, was Elderly Transportation Club. I actually founded this club because of my grandma, who basically drove me around my entire life. She was my personal Uber, and I wanted to pay her back by taking her to different hospitals. And it wasn't super big, but me and my friends would make a good effort to drive elderly people around the area. And now for my internships, I had 2 internships. One of them was for a college counseling group called Ivy Guardian, where basically I just filed papers, did the dirty work, and just brought them coffee and stuff. And my second internship was in a real estate company called First Team Realtors. And what we did was cold call people and help them market their business. And I would try and get people to see if they're trying to sell or buy a house and see if we can be an agent for them. And finally, my last important extracurricular activity was my own business. So I created my own business called The One Way. Those of you guys who I trained, appreciate you guys coming through. But basically what I did was I trained people around the area, created my own business model, my own basketball training practices, and I would train on the weekends, school days, summer days, and this was a big part of my application. I even trained a bunch of Division I athletes, a bunch of super good players like Matt Lee, Daniel Sparza, Damian Parker, Pierre Haywood. I don't know if you guys know, but Matt Lee, you can look him up on YouTube. He went head-to-head against Dior. So all you Koreans out there, Matt Lee represents us pretty well. So moving on to my essays. So as you guys remember, I got a really low GPA my freshman year, and I took the SAT multiple times. So the main thing I talked about was my story of growth. From going a 2.9 GPA to a 4.8 GPA, and going from JV benchwarmer to varsity captain, I talked about the strategies I applied in my life and the work ethic it took to achieve these goals. I also talked about how I applied these practices in different aspects of life. So for example, my own business, I talked about how I taught other people these practices so that they could become the best version of themselves. In my next 2 essays, I talked about my journey of founding the Elderly Transportation Club and why I wanted to give back to that demographic of people. And I also talked about my real estate marketing internship and what I learned, because this was really tied to my major of being a business economics student. If you guys want me to go further into my essays and read it to you out loud and all the other stuff, I'll gladly make another video of reading all the essays and the drafts that I went through to make them. Okay, so that's all for you guys. If you guys want another video talking about the more specific things that I went through in high school, I would love to make that for you. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment of what your favorite part of the GPA story was. If you're Simon Park seeing this, leave your favorite emoji. Vlog coming soon. It's literally free. Just like and subscribe.